They're an excellent team. They're fully players that are experienced at international level. They're obviously not doing great in the league at this moment in time in terms of their position, but they're fully class players and we're in for a real tough game tomorrow night.
It may seem to people that it's not like one of the big glamour names, but we all know about the standard of football in that country, women's football in particular. Is that something that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, it's going to be an extremely tough tie. They're a typical Scandinavian team. They're strong, they're tall, they're athletic. They play nice attacking football, like to possess the ball. So we're going to spend a lot of time tomorrow, possibly without the ball, and we'll need to defend really well to make sure that we get a good result.
In terms of what it means for the club, for the profile, for the season, how do you assess these two upcoming games? You could look at them as two of the biggest games of the season, albeit early in the season.
Yeah, they're massive games, and obviously with what's at stake as well. Both teams will be giving it their all to try and make it through to the group stages. But in terms of our overall season, it's early for us. We've only played a handful of league games, but I think we're now really starting to click as a team and starting to get the performances that we want.
In terms of the gap between the teams that have played a lot of Champions League football and certainly group stage and those that are trying to get there, how do you assess it in the women's game? We see sort of our men's teams trying to get to that level and there's a huge gap. How do you assess it in terms of the women's game, that gap and how hard it is to get in there?
Yeah, I think it's similar in the women's game, but we're a club that have experienced the kind of mid to latter stages of this competition. Getting ourselves to the quarterfinals on 2 occasions has been huge for us in terms of being a standalone club. And I think that's something that we need to try and emulate tomorrow. Getting that result, that'll put us in a good position to take us to the group stages.
Or that kind of sets a bar. Is that where the aspirations are set once again?
Yeah, we always want to do as well as we can in any competition that we enter. So yes, it's going to be difficult to achieve that tomorrow and the following week, but in terms of the prizes at stake, it would be fantastic for us to get our name and have that opportunity to play in the group stages against some fantastic clubs.
And the fact that the domestic game here is on the up and you've got more domestic competition, is that helping you in that sense in terms of the league, the standard of the league and the football you're playing on the domestic front going into Europe?
Absolutely. Every game that we go into now is more of a challenge than the previous. So I think you can see as well with the calibre of players that we're attracting to this league that the standard is growing, the product is getting better. And I think the more that we can do that and the more that we can have clubs creating an environment where their players are training and playing professionally, the better, because then that'll increase the standard in the league and hopefully close the gap to the bigger clubs around Europe.
And how happy are you with the start of the season so far and your form going into these 2 big European matches?
Yeah, in terms of results, obviously we're disappointed with the result on Thursday against Celtic, but the response that I got on Sunday was great from the team. We went out, we were clear on the objectives that we had in the game, and I think the players that came in really showed that hunger and desire to prove why they're at this club and why they want to start this game on Wednesday.
And is there a sense going into this that the level's about to raise, that it's Europe and that there's a massive prize at the end of it if things go your way?
Yeah, the players are under no illusions as to the task that we face over the next couple of games. And the ones that have been here over the years and have experienced these Champions League nights are obviously helping the less experienced or the younger players that are in the squad. So I'm hoping that experience can help see us over the line.
Do you see it as reasonably level, kind of a 50-50 game, or in terms of what you're saying about the calibre of their players, are they slight favourites? How do you view it in that sense?
In terms of internally, obviously we want to go into every game thinking that we've got the best opportunity possible, but you look at the squads and I think we are quite evenly matched. We also have players that have got great experience that play at international level as well, so I think it'll be an interesting game, but I'm just excited to see us matched up against a top European team.
I'll probably know more after the first leg in terms of where things are, but I'm just wondering, if you got what you want, if you got group stage Champions League football, what would that do for the club just in terms of like, the profile and the prestige of it? But also, I'm thinking as well, balancing Europe with domestic, that's quite a challenge as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a busy schedule already, even before we even start thinking about those group stage games. But that's why we've got the squad that we have. We were very careful in the summer to go out and recruit players that could come in here and improve the strength and depth that we have in the squad. And I think we have done that. We're able to make changes in different games, and it doesn't really affect the standard and performance of the team. So that's obviously something that we've planned for. But yeah, getting to the group stages, the prestige of it, the kind of clubs that you would bring here, the attention that attracts is obviously huge, and hopefully we can go and do that over the course of the next couple of games.
In terms of the squad, any ins and outs, injuries, people coming in or dropping out, anything we need to know for the big game?
Hayley Lauder was back in the squad on Sunday, so it's pleasing to see her coming back in to get us kind of back to full strength. The only ones that we are missing are the longer term ones with Claire Walsh and Jo Love. So full strength apart from that.
And just finally, in terms of their squad, anyone in particular you need to pay close attention to, like their danger players?
I think middle to front, they've got a lot of real dangerous players that can go and hurt us in the game. So nobody in particular in terms of that's a star player, but I think we're going to have to be at the top of our game in terms of defending our own box, defending in the wide areas, because we do have some real threatening and dangerous players, especially wide to mid to front. Sorry.
That's great for me.
Hi. Obviously, as the women's game's going, it's probably a little bit easier to maybe find out opposition from other countries. I think you probably watched dodgy YouTube clips in the past a couple of games. How has that growth actually helped in terms of your scouting of Brann ahead of the game?
Yeah, it's massive, and also the resources that we have at the club in terms of personnel. Our analyst has been on it straight away as soon as the draw was made, so we're able to get that footage and really be on top of that and get the players as prepared as we can be. So, like you said, that's something that's changed over the years, and definitely something that has improved since I was playing the game.
And you mentioned obviously Brann have not maybe obviously coming into it as Norwegian champions had a bit of a sticky season, but I think they've unbeaten in the last 6. Is that something that you've kind of acknowledged that maybe they've turned a corner at some point along the lines, and have you identified maybe what that's been in those games?
I think if you look at the league table, it's a very strong league. They obviously won it last season. They're possibly having a little sticky patch this season, but it is still close. The standard is difficult to tell in terms of how difficult it is for them to win games, but I don't think because they've not been getting the results that they're not a good team. They're still very dangerous, and we're well aware of every single threat that they have.
And obviously games at Petershill Park tomorrow night. Petershill Park on a Champions League night. I mean, you're smiling as I ask the question. It's a unique experience. Do you think maybe for some sides who've maybe not been here before, I mean, I think the likes like the Bromby game, Chernobyl game there, it feels like even though it's small and compact, the crowd has carried you to that result. Is that something that you're looking forward to have Champions League football at, pretty humble surroundings? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for me as a player, I've had some really special nights playing Champions League football at Petershill. I think the fans love it. They come out in their numbers, and I'm hopeful that that's going to be the same tomorrow. The players that I have in my team that have experience of that as well, they've been telling the less experienced players or the new players to the team just exactly what it is going to be like tomorrow. But like I said, we've had some fantastic results, but that takes a great performance from the team to get those results, and hopefully we can go and do that tomorrow.
Obviously last season it was slightly different. Paris and Roma came here and it wasn't to be easy. You've got through that round. I know Kerrigan's kind of asked it already, but seeing that up close, and as somebody who's been in the game a long time, how does it feel to see like teams like Roma and Paris? Well, Paris actually is slightly different, but Roma, a team that maybe 5 years ago maybe didn't even exist. Like, how does that feel to see those teams kind of come in and supercharge a game like this?
Well, it just shows the resources that are now coming into the women's game, and especially the big men's clubs that are able to put those resources in and really fast track that improvement and standard within their women's teams. So we've seen that firsthand last season with Roma. People maybe weren't expecting them to be so good, but after analysing them, we knew exactly what to expect, and I wasn't surprised that they went as far as they did in the competition.
Can I ask you a bit of a thinker question? Mark Skinner and Jackie Doran were speaking yesterday, and they were talking about the fact that big teams aren't getting straight into the Champions League group stages. What was your take on that as somebody from Glasgow City, Scotland, sometimes viewed as a bit of a footballing backwater in European world context? But Glasgow City, as you alluded to, haven't got to quarterfinals of the Champions League before. What's your take on the format and how they kind of made their point yesterday?
I think it's the same in every competition. I mean, you look at World Cups, European Championships, the gaps are closing now, but that's because the teams that are maybe seen as the lesser teams are putting in more resources, the game's becoming more professional, and I think the gap is closing. But you can't just be handed the opportunity to go and progress and to be in the latter stages of competitions. You need to go and work for that, and I think that's something that we've proven that we're able to do over the years in terms of pitting ourselves against those bigger teams, if you like, and it makes for some fantastic occasions. So as a player, you want to be playing in those games and you want to really challenge yourself, and when you progress, it's the best feeling.
Is it a little bit frustrating though that you're at a stage where almost like there's this extra additional levels of path that you've had to go through when in the past, as one of the clubs that were at the forefront of it, maybe didn't have to do that? Or do you accept that that's just part of the growth of the game?
No, I think over the years, like, we've maybe been fortunate in terms of the draws that we've had to be able to get to latter stages, but we really have punched above our weight and deserve to be where we've got in the competition. So it is difficult. Like, the format of competitions change, but that's organisations trying to make the best and to improve the game the best that they can. So if they think that that's the way to do that, then teams just have to roll the sleeves up and get on with it, and you just need to see how far you can actually get yourself in the competition.